Okay, so here in our demo environment, we're looking at the Operations Manager console. Underneath the active alerts, you can see some of the activity related to the scenario that we have drawn out. Here we have a user account created, and the source of that information is coming from the SecureVantage management pack from the DC on Katoso.com domain. You can see admin X as the account name, and the new account that's been created is the admin Y. You can also see that admin Y has been enabled, and that admin Y has now enabled the user Z or user Z user account. So that's just a real quick look at how the operations team might first get insight into a security event taking place within the environment. Now, while we're within the Ops Manager console, I'll scroll down and show you some of the other items related to SecureVantage. You can see here our check for product updates, product documentation, the team blog, and then some of the administrative tools, the Audit Collection Admin, the Data Miner Express, and Load Manager. And we'll take a look at these a little bit later from a different view. Also, you can see our Windows Application Security Operations node with the new Exchange Security Auditor and some of the information that will be auditing from an Exchange security standpoint, and some of the same stuff that's going to be available in the SQL Server security monitoring as well. Underneath Windows Security Operations, you can see a lot of the activity that we're able to monitor for within the Operations Manager console using our native management packs. But going back to our scenario, we have our open activity here and the user that's drawn some concern from operations, and from here they can escalate the alert, forward it, take whatever action is necessary using the actions pane, etc., or simply turn this over to security for further investigation. And that's where we look at our security console and what it is able to provide within the organization for being able to monitor for particular security activity. So as this loads up, we'll take a look at some of those alerts. And again, a lot of the same activity, but from the security team's perspective, they're not concerned about all the other alerts that are going on within the Ops Manager console. All they're concerned with is what's going on from the security perspective. So this console now provides all of our management pack data around security events that are taking place within the managed systems, and being able to bring that into a very quickly, easily digestible format. So here the security operators are able to see that, yes, user Z has logged on, but coming down here, we see some interesting activity around the ACS forwarder service being changed. So that's automatically going to trigger certain responsive behavior around what's going on with our ACS infrastructure. Has it been compromised? Using our Audit Integrity Manager, and you see the tab here, we're able to quickly get a bird's eye view of the health and availability of our ACS infrastructure. And on the Collector Activity tab for all the collectors reporting, we can get some of the top events, event activity summary. We can see the top machines producing alerts, top events, top accounts, etc. What we're really interested in looking at, though, is the availability. So we can look at things like the collector performance, see how many connected clients, what the database queuing length is, database performance, etc. We can also look at the forwarder performance and see what is the input-output, packets received, the size of the databases, etc. And if you look here, just to notice, let's see, average rate, time submitted. Here we go. Actually, let's pop over database administration. That's what I was looking for. Database size in megabytes. So here you can see, average size 700, 799, 596, 590, 574, etc. Now, if we pop over to our load manager, this is where we're able to load available partitions into the historical database to be able to be reported against simultaneously. So being able to report against multiple collectors at the same time. Here, if we'll scroll down to that same date range, 526, 527, add it in there. Now we're able to report against both of those at the same time. But if you look here at the size of these files, previously we were looking at 560 megabytes, so to speak. Now, after our compression algorithm's been applied, we're seeing more in the average range of 30 to 40 megabytes in size. So tremendous savings on the amount of SAN storage required for you to be able to maintain this information long term. The other tab that we have here is our data monitor, and I have gone ahead and executed a query selecting the audit database, the date range, again 525 through 527. Now I'm actually looking at user Z, and I want to see from that user's perspective what information has been gathered. So I'm looking at the object access category and some of the other categories that are listed. Give me just 1 second. Wait for this to populate. I'm having a little bit of connectivity into the remote desktop connection, as you can see there by the spiral. And there we go. Okay, so here's all the different types of categories that we're able to run through the data monitor to be able to isolate and filter just down to the level of detail that we're wanting. So scrolling down and over here, we can see some of the objects that have been accessed, and scrolling through this, I'm looking for anything that's relevant to our PCI. So here you can see that user Z has access to the PCI docs folder that contains the critical and confidential credit card information. So now we have full audit forensics to be able to save this information, archive it, run reports, but most importantly, be able to use it as credible data, as submittable evidence for prosecution with these types of events. So now, as the security operations type person, I've seen this security violation take place. We know there's a security incident in play. I'm going to select this user Z has access PCI documents folder security event to create an incident. And now this is actually tying directly into System Center Service Manager to be able to create that incident. And this is simply an XML file that gets picked up by Service Manager. So as long as any other competitive incident management system like Remedy or Heat is able to read that XML file, you'll be able to integrate it with those systems as well. But for our demo environment, it's tied and hooked into System Center Service Manager. So I'm going to say investigate further. And it's automatically going to take the reports associated with this, all the log data, and put it in there with this incident, along with the impact, the urgency, and the classification category of security, which has already been specified. So all that data is then going to be generated and sent over to Service Manager as a new incident. And from there, we can put it through all of our change control processes, as well as investigation and forensics evaluation. So while that's being created, let's see, there's my successful incident number 7538 has been created. Now, let's look at it from the auditor's perspective. So we had operations folks identify this first in the Ops Manager console. They notified security and escalated that ticket over. Security has gone through their evaluation, deemed this worthy of an investigation. Now it has basically hit the fan and auditors are involved. So now we can bring up our auditor's console, and again, looking at the specific event and the date ranges within it, we can come in and say, okay, this is clearly a PCI compliance issue. So we select PCI from the available compliance authorities. We select the monitor controls, and here you see all the different monitor controls that we're able to support for this specific compliance authority. And this one I'm going to select the 7.1, limit access to system components and cardholder data. Now from there, you have different available reports, and for this one, we have the 6 different categorization of reports that are available. I'm going to say group membership changes and forensic account management. And from here, specifying the date range, I run the report, and while that report's running, some of the other things that you're able to look at is the audit log. One of the things that we have to be able to do is demonstrate full usage of the tools and technologies behind our solutions for chain of evidence and custodial care. That's part of the legal requirements anytime a security incident goes before a court or magistrate to be able to prosecute any violators of our security environment. So by being able to log all the activity, you're not able to even select a drop-down without that information being categorized and cataloged for later use. So here you can see the report execution, etc. If I scroll this out, you'll be able to see exactly that report that was just executed and some of the new report designs as well as the verbiage. So all the information that's included in the header page of the report is directly tied towards the auditor community for them to be able to understand the language and the verbiage around objectives, rationale, etc. So here's the events that we are picking up on that correspond to this particular group membership changes report, what the objective is of this particular control, and then the rationale behind that. Also being able to select which agent machine, and in this case we're targeting all systems. So as I scroll down into the report, you can see the date and time created, which servers provide the details, operator, group account, and member. Looking at some of the details now, you'll be able to see that admin X was added admin Y to the domain admins group, then admin Y added user Z to the PCI development group. That right there was one of our security violations, it taking place without any type of change control and obviously being associated with that rogue account. So there's, again, forensic evidence and information being able to be utilized for handling this incident and carrying it through to prosecution.